I am so in love with this web series, Love, Sex, and Marriage, and this season finale was pure gag worthy. Let's talk about it, y'all. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to KRS TV. This is your boy Kenny. Now remember, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow all the information I have in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And this is my review of Love, Sex, and Marriage, the Season 2 finale. I do apologize that this video was late. I was actually under the weather at the time that it came out. I did watch it, but I wasn't able to review it at the time. But I owe this I definitely owe this video to you guys because I'm a huge fan of Love, Sex, and Marriage. I even went to see the stage play, which was phenomenal. You know, definitely get your DVDs to it because this cast is amazing. And shout out to Trey Floyd for creating such great work. And also, he has a new show that's going to be coming soon called Me and the Mister. I'm definitely looking forward to checking that out. And also, in 2020, he's launching a new production before Black Lives Matter. You can get your tickets now on TroyFloyd.com. For those of us who live in the DMV, it will be they will be performing on March 6th at the Black Box Theater in Silver Spring. And they also will be in Baltimore on March 7th. But if you get your tickets now, and if you enter Tremas, and that's TREMAS in the code section, you will get $5 off of tickets and merchandise. So hop on it right now and get your tickets to the show. And I'm looking forward to seeing this cast because they are phenomenal talents, and I'm a huge fan. But I definitely want to do a review for this, you know, because I reviewed all the other episodes, but I never got a chance to review the finale, and I have to say this finale was great, and things happen that completely shocked the hell out of me. So let me begin. The episode picks up where Darren, I'm sorry, why the hell did I say Damien? Well, the episode picks up where Darren meets up with his ex Xavier. Now, Xavier is played by none other than Mike Hurd. I remember when he used to do videos with the late Ty Couture, rest in peace. And he has his own YouTube channel called Love and Light TV here on YouTube. And he does this segment with his boyfriend Terrence. Now, Terrence actually played the role of Donald on Love, Sex, and Marriage, the guy from the bank that was trying to get Vontae to eat his chicken nuggets. But when Vontae said no, he tried to shut him down. But Ashley shut that down with that big check. As again, Vontae, you need to make Ashley manager. She got it, baby. So we see that after Darren finds out that Ken slept with Jeremy because Cortez decided to scream it to the world, so to speak, he goes to meet up with Xavier. And then, like, they go back and forth, and in this conversation, we find out a lot about Darren that we didn't know. And pretty much, you know, Xavier's like, you up in here looking like a little sad puppy. What's really going on? You know, and then like, Darren was like, you know, he kind of lets him know what's going on, that, you know, that Jeremy has slept with Ken. And then Xavier called his ass out and was like, well, it seems like Karma's a bitch. Because do you remember why I broke up with you? And, you know, Darren was like, well, I just thought you just broke up with me. He's like, no, fool. I broke up with you because you slept with my best friend. And I was like, what? You mean to tell me this is karma, you know, playing itself out in a different way? Because you slept with Xavier's best friend. Now your best friend, now your fiance, the man who's the love of your life, actually slept with your best friend. So karma's real, y'all. So that's a lesson. Be careful how you treat people, because when you do bad, you're gonna pay on the back end. And this is exactly what happened with Darren. And pretty much, Xavier was asking, do you love Ken? And he's like, and if you love Ken, why am I here? And then Darren was like, because I missed you. And he was like, wrong. You're guilty because how my life, you want to know how my life is because you're no longer in it. And second, you're mad that you got cheated on, So, and then that you literally set this up to get back at Ken. And he tells him to go home, and then Darian's phone starts ringing. He dismisses the call. Trust me, that's gonna come back. But then Darren asks Xavier, have you ever wondered? And he's like, yeah, I wonder what would have happened with us. But I'm gonna be honest with you, my life is good, and I'm glad I left your ass. And Darren was like, well, damn, that's cold. But he says, yeah, regardless of the fact, I'm good. I'm just in town on business, and I'm leaving tomorrow morning. And so he's like, so tonight is your last night being here in Atlanta. He was like, yeah. But then he asked him again, do you love Ken? And then Darren was like, well, what if I don't? And he was like, well, then be in my hotel room at 9. And that's where that conversation ended. So I immediately liked Xavier because Xavier shined some light on the situation that Darren had did some messy stuff in the past, and yet it came back to bite him from his true love, which is Ken. So then we see that, since, Darren and Ken got into it, Darren has been staying at Rick's house. Rick wakes up Ken and says, like, dude, it's your wedding day. And he's like, man, ain't no damn wedding. Stop saying that shit. And he asks, did you go see Ken? And he was like, nah. He's like, well, where did you go? Because I thought that's where you went. He's like, no, I went to go see Xavier. And, he invited me to his room. And I said no, but I thought about it. And he was like, bruh, you and Ken have been... And then, like, Rick... I like Rick because Rick is like the friend of reason. Rick is letting him know, like, look, you and Ken have been through too much, and I know you love him, so y'all need to work this out, like, y'all need to talk this through. But Darren right now is not trying to hear it, but but Rick is trying to speak to him that, look, you need to talk to Ken. You should not let this one mistake ruin everything y'all had together. And then while he's trying to talk to him, Darren's phone keeps going off, just like it did when Darren was talking to Xavier. And he asks, who the hell is calling your phone? He's like, I don't know, it's an unlisted number. It comes back. I'm gonna get to it. So therefore, but Darren is like, well, it's just not that simple. And he's like, well, the thing is, you need to work this out between you and Ken, because you and Ken have been through too much to let this one mistake ruin everything y'all had together. And then all of a sudden, Jeremy shows up, and Jeremy is there to talk to Darren because he found out through Cortez, because Cortez told him that he let it be known about, about the tryst that Ken and Jeremy had at the end of season 1. So immediately when Darren sees Jeremy, he hauls off and whoops his ass. And I love you, Jeremy, but you had that coming. At the end of the day, that was a violation of guy code. You don't never smash one of your homies. It's no different than what Little Fizz did to Omarion. You don't do that. That's literally crossing the line. You don't do that shit. So Darren politely whooped his ass, but Rick broke it up, and Jeremy comes clean and he apologizes for what he did, and he was saying that, look, you and Ken are meant to be together. I should not have done that. I was drunk, he was drunk, and he was telling me he thought that you had slept with Andre, and one thing led to another. So really, it was an innocent situation that should not have went there, but it just so happened they both were drunk and one thing led to another. Because I was even under the impression that Jeremy drugged Ken like he drugged Andre at that party. And trust me, that comes back to play in this episode too. So Rick pretty much breaks it up, and he says that, look, we need to squash this, because, we've been down since middle school, which makes it even worse. Y'all grew up together, and Jeremy, that's like a major Geico violation. But, if anything, I actually salute Jeremy in this scene, because he says that, look, I take full responsibility. I understand you mad, but be mad at me. Don't be mad at Ken. What you and Ken got is real. And then afterwards, Jeremy goes to clean himself up because Darren gave him a black eye. And then Rick talks to Darren, and he was like, look, you need to actually hash this out with Ken, because let's remember, dog, you weren't a saint yourself. But Darren was like, but Ken was perfect to me. He's like, regardless of the fact, you weren't a saint, so you just kind of got back what was coming to you. And he also tells him that, look, nobody is perfect, but you guys need to talk about it. And so we see that Darren was like, I gotta go get some air. So Darren leaves. Then Jeremy comes back, and then Rick was like, dude, you got fucked up. Like, literally. And, Jeremy's like, you got some ice? He's like, yeah, I got some ice, but I ain't gonna give you none. So he was just messing with him and everything. And, I actually salute Jeremy, because Jeremy actually stood up as a man, and he took that ass whooping. So Jeremy gets kudos in my book. But then again, there's more to the Jeremy situation. So let's keep it moving. So then we see that Ken, Vontae, and Andre are discussing everything. And Ken is like, he's like, oh my God, I cannot believe I'm sad on my wedding day. We don't even know if the wedding is still going to go on. We also find out in this scene that Andre got that job, is full-time with benefits. And, even though he had a situation with one of the managers, that didn't stop him from getting the job, which was great. And then we see that Cortez comes in, and immediately Vontae and Andre don't have it for Cortez, which is understandable because Cortez has been doing too much. But he actually comes in on goodwill, and Ken forgives him. He tells him that, look, I'm mad it came out the way it did, but I'm glad it got out because I didn't want to go into my marriage with this guilt and with this lie hanging over my head. So, but, Cortez apologizes, which is a good thing. And then he says that, he knows what Ken told him was the truth about that he'd been slipping since he'd been there. And that he says he's going to, talk to his professors and take some, community college classes to get up his credits. And, what ended up happening is that Vontae got a call from Rick. He stepped off for a minute. He came back and he says, I got good news. The wedding is on. But the bad news is that the optics are going to be a little off because the best man has a black eye, which he actually deserved. So then finally Darren comes in. Cortez, Vontae, and Andre leave. Ken and Darren finally talk. Pretty much she's saying that, then Ken was like, don't you, and then like Darren was like, I know it's bad luck to see you before the wedding. Ken was like, we're kind of past bad luck, but trust me, this wedding was epic. And pretty much Darren tells Ken that he forgives him, and he says that my father told me to look into your brown eyes to see if you were the man for me, and I know you are the man for me. So they pretty much decide that they're going to go on with the wedding, which was everything. Then we go to the wedding ceremony while Ken and Darren are exchanging vows. We see that Andre has this strange look on his face. Vontae calls him out about it, and the reason why he looks strange is because he's saying, who the hell is that guy? And he says, oh, that's Jeremy, that's the best man. He's like, he looks familiar. And then Vontae kind of joked, you probably slept with him knowing you. He's like, bitch, don't come for me. I know the men I slept with. And he's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And we see that that Ken and Darren exchange vows. So they are now husband and husband. So after the wedding, we see that Vontae introduces Andre to Jeremy. they hit it off or whatever, but Andre saying that you do look familiar. Have I seen you somewhere or whatever? And then while they were talking, Ashley comes up and tells Andre, we need ice, so you need to go to the store. And he was like, okay, cool. And he was like, well, how am I get there? But then Jeremy offered to drive him. So while they're walking out, about to get into the car, it immediately hit Andre. I know you. Rapist. You raped me. And all of a sudden, Jeremy's trying to calm him down, but Andre is like, nah, you a trifling motherfucker. And you sit up here and slept with Ken, knowing he was with Darren? Man, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. And Andre is just heated. And I'm like, whoa, this is crazy as hell. So then, Andre goes to Vontae to ask, can he borrow his car? And he's like, you seem like you mad about something. He's like, yeah, just give me the keys. I gotta go. I gotta go get this ice. And then of course, Rick was like, what's going on? And Vontae was like, I think he's still upset about the Jeremy and Ken situation. But I was like, oh, if only you knew. Just saying, if only you knew. And I think it's gonna all get revealed in season 3. So that happened. And then they go to Darren and Ken. They are literally in marital bliss and everything is going good. And then we get an unexpected visitor. And it turns out it's Yolanda. And Yolanda is Darren's ex-girlfriend. And she's not alone. And we come to find out that's the person that's been hitting up Darren on his phone on an unlisted number. And she's like, why are you here, Yolanda? Like, what's going on? She's like, well, I came here to tell you something. And he's like, what you gotta tell me, yo? Like, what is this? And of course, Ken is thrown off, like, why would you come to his wedding of all places? Come to find out, Yolanda had a baby and pretty much told Darren that he's the father of her daughter. This immediately, Ken fainted. Because here it is, on his wedding day, he finds out that possibly Darren is a daddy. And for those who watch the stage play, we know how Yolanda is. Yolanda is a piece of work. She's gorgeous though, but child, you never know. So maybe she could be using this as a ploy to get money out of Darren. We don't know. Or it could be biologically his child that he just now found out about, because he was dating Yolanda before he got with Ken. So Ken passes out. They immediately like, call an ambulance. Andre has Ashley's phone, so her boo Antonio calls, and he says that, look, they said it's going to be a minute because there was just a big accident not far from here. Then it pretty much reads, we get a news report that it was a crash on MLK and 4 people were killed. And 3 or more cars were involved in the accident. Now, think of it. There's 4 people that I know that weren't at that wedding or who left the wedding. One, you got Xavier, who is Darren's ex-boyfriend. We don't know if he was involved in that crash. And then you got Jeremy and Andre because, Jeremy pretty much may have driven after Andre to try to talk to him, and Andre left in a haste, and he was upset, which could have led to him being in an accident. And then, what about Cortez? We didn't see Cortez at all at the wedding. So I think we have to wait for a 3rd season to find out what transpired after this. But, shout out to Trey Floyd Productions. You guys did a phenomenal job with season 2. I'm a huge fan of this show. Definitely get your tickets right now to before Black Lives Matters. I'm gonna have this I'm going to actually have it posted in the intro so you guys can actually check it out, and get your tickets at TreyFloyd.com. So that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, get down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. So until next time, everybody, take care.